Welcome to F1 PC, where we talk about PCs and Formula One, as you can see on the background. Today, we're going to be talking about what I feel is the perfect budget build for a PC if you need to build now and if you can't wait for all the upcoming releases. So let's get into it. So the build that I'm doing today starts off with the 5600G. Just before I go any further, so this build is for a budget not exceeding £500 or $500. So with that in mind, I've looked for the best parts with upgradability in mind, which will enable you to basically swap out some of these parts, but not all of them. Keep some of them, and some of them for the duration of the life of the system, and be able to add in a few things without having to replace parts such as PSUs and stuff like that. So the first part for this build that I've chosen is the 5600G. The reason why I've chosen it over the 5700 is simply because of price. The performance is quite close, so I don't see that the big bump in price is justified if you go for the 5700G. So 5600G will enable you to play some esport games, not at the highest settings, but definitely on probably 1080p low. So yeah, that's why I've chosen it. It gets you straight into the game, not having to worry about graphics card for now, in case you maybe want to wait and see what happens with the market and see what gets released. And especially because the graphics cards these days are still extremely expensive, even though they are dropping in price. We should see much bigger drops in the near future. So that basically takes care of our GPU and CPU in one for this build. Then next up, for the motherboard, I've chosen a base spec B550 AM4 motherboard. Now, being AM4, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, that's dead end. Well, I don't necessarily agree. There are some very, very good CPUs on the AM4 platform. In fact, the current best CPU that you can use or that you can buy for gaming at the moment is on the AM4 platform, that being the 5800 X3D. So this actually allows you to go all the way up to that CPU if you want to, without having to replace the motherboard. So I've chosen this motherboard, very good price, gives you everything you need, gives you four slots of 4 RAM slots. It's got enough USB ports, it's got audio, it's got everything you need. So yeah, that's what I've chosen for that. Then next up is the RAM. So you'll see I've chosen straight away, even though it's a budget build, I've chosen 2x8, so 16 gig kit coming from Corsair, the Vengeance LPX, and it's not the bottom of the range. It's a decently spec'd 3600 megahertz CL18 memory. So the price is pretty good. The slower speeds were slightly cheaper, maybe a few dollars here and there, pounds, sorry, well, depending on where you're sitting. So I stretched it a little bit and went for this one. This will basically be good regardless of what CPU you dump into the system later on. You can keep this for the duration of the life of this system. So this is what I've chosen. Going over to the memory or storage, I've chosen the crucial P21 terabytes M.2 NVMe. So 1 terabyte on a budget build, I think, is fantastic. It's not the fastest one that you'll find, but it's not going to slow you down in games. In terms of upgradability, what I would do in future if I wanted to add more performance and more storage is I'd get maybe a Samsung Evo, one of those drives, or Western Digital Black or something like that. That's a lot faster. I'd make that new one my main drive, so my operating system drive, and I'd change this one into the storage drive. But even if you don't do that, this is going to suit you just fine at this price point. Then for the case, I've gone for the in my opinion, the sort of bread and butter of cases. Like, you can't go wrong with NZXT H510. This one's actually the black with the red accents, which is really nice. It pops really well. In fact, it goes well with the AMD CPU, because that's their color, I suppose you could say that. And yeah, £57, you can't go wrong with this, and it gives you enough space to put any graphics card size you want in that case. So yeah, that's the case out of the way, and this case can basically last you for, you can use this case for the rest of your life. It's not going to be it's not going to give you any problems unless they change, you know, the way PCs are built, the way PCs are set up, like ATX changes to something else that this won't take. But I don't see that happening in the near future, so nothing to worry about there. Then for the PSU, I've chosen the Corsair RM550X 80 plus gold certified, fully modular. So this probably looks like overkill, but for the price, it was, let's just say, completely unavoidable to go for this. This will basically enable you to put in a graphics card without having to worry about having to upgrade the PSU as well. So that's what I've chosen for this. It's going to give you very stable power, very efficient at 80 plus gold. Corsair, as we all know, they are a very reputable brand when it comes to PSUs. So that's why I've chosen them for this. And in summary, this is what the computer setup or build looks like. So you'll see it comes to currently £451. It's just under budget, which is always good. It allows you to maybe play around with a few of the components. If you really wanted to, you could go for faster memory, maybe a better NVMe. But yeah, this is solid if you want to buy a computer today, and you don't want to wait to see what happens with the AM5 platforms, because they're just simply going to be out of reach for some people, having to fork out for a brand new motherboard that's going to be, well, from next month upwards of a few £100 per motherboard. And then the CPUs, I think they start at $299, so you're looking at quite a big jump from this budget. So if you want to just get into it at a budget, this is what I recommend. And then it allows you to put in a graphics card just later down the line, once the prices are actually even better than what they are now. I'm not saying they're good now, because they're still just touching on MSRP, some are below, but yeah, that's basically it. So thanks for watching. If you want to check out my other videos, I've got a 750 build, AMD 750 build, which actually includes the graphics card. So if you want to see what I put into that system, then hit the link. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one.